Our topic is all about Daniel Bernoulli, a Swedish mathematician and physicist, and was one of the prominent mathematicians in the Bernoulli family from Brazil. He is particularly remembered for his application of mathematics to mechanics, especially fluid mechanics, and from his pioneering work in probability and statistics. Daniel Bernoulli was born in 1700s in the Netherlands, and he was died in 1782 in Switzerland. Daniel Bernoulli had a father that bad in the eyes of others and in the eyes of him, because Daniel Bernoulli was banned by his father in their house. Daniel Bernoulli have many works like Bernoulli's principle, kinetic theory, and thermodynamics. That is works. And the Bernoulli's principle discussed by Sophia, Nool. Thank you.
In fluid dynamics, Bernoulli's principle states that an increase in the speed of fluid occurs simultaneously with a decrease in static pressure or decrease in the fluid's potential energy. The principle is named after Daniel Bernoulli, who published it in his book Hydrodynamica in 1738. Although Bernoulli deduced that pressure decreases when the flow speed increases, it was Leonhard Euler who derived Bernoulli's equation in its usual form in 1752. The principle is only applicable for isentropic flows, when the effects of irreversible processes and non-adiabatic processes are small can be neglected. Bernoulli's principle can be applied to various types of fluid flow, resulting in various forms of Bernoulli's equation. There are different forms of Bernoulli's equation for different types of flow. The simple form of Bernoulli's equation is valid for incompressible flows, like liquid flows and gases moving at low Mach number. More advanced form may be applied to compressible flows at higher Mach numbers. Bernoulli's principle can be derived from the principle of conservation of energy. This states that in a steady flow, the sum of all forms of energy in a fluid along a streamline is the same at all points on that streamline. This requires that the sum of kinetic energy, potential energy, and internal energy remains constant. Thus, an increase in the speed of the fluid, implying an increase in its kinetic energy, occurs with simultaneous increase in its potential energy and internal energy. If the fluid is flowing out of reservoir, the sum of all forms of energy is the same on all streamlines, because in a reservoir, the energy per unit volume is the same everywhere. Bernoulli's principle can also be derived directly from Isaac Newton's second law of motion. If a small volume of fluid is flowing horizontally from a region of high pressure to a region of low pressure, then there is more pressure behind than in front. This gives a net force on the volume accelerating it along the streamline. Fluid particles are subject only to pressure and their own weight. If a fluid is flowing horizontally and along a section of streamline where the speed increases, it can only be because the fluid on the section has moved from a region of higher pressure to a region of lower pressure. And if its speed decreases, it can only be because it has moved from a region of lower pressure to a region of higher pressure. Consequently, within a fluid flowing horizontally, the highest speed occurs when the pressure is lowest, and the lowest speed